What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Movie Talks, only percussion here for all your movie news, movie reviews, and more. We got episode 84. We're swinging in like King Kong and fighting
Hey.
Godzilla versus Kong. Damn, I actually thought Kong was first in the name. Don't know why, because it's a new empire. Ba-ba-ba.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Maybe I was imagining it kind of like our newest horror by the producers of Megan with a 3, Imaginary. And then we've got Sydney Sweeney being Immaculate in Immaculate. I'm pretty excited. Lawson's excited. Look at that little smile. He's like, yes, Sydney Sweeney.
I was smiling because it's the same joke you made last week.
Mm, You mm.
Mm,
Got me there.
mm.
I got nothing. It worked. It worked.
Immaculate.
Oh, funny, 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 man. But let's jump into movie news because this is where everyone gets their movie news from, and they love it. Christian Bale is my favorite Batman, and now he's going to be Frankenstein. I wonder if he'll
Oh,
say,
really?
I'm Frankenstein.
Yeah, right.
You reckon he would?
I hope so.
It'd be pretty funny.
I hope that's all he can say. I hope he's like Timmy in South Park, where he can just
Is
say his name.
Frankenstein. just, just crumbling away.
Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster.
Christian Bale is Frankenstein. And first look at Margie
Maggie
Gyllenhaal's
Gyllenhaal. Okay.
The Bride. I'm wondering if is that related to Jake Gyllenhaal?
Well, no, he's Frankenstein's monster. It's one of those weird. I know it's a me thing. It's a fucking annoying little thing I get annoyed about, but
Yeah.
it's Frankenstein's monster.
Okay.
It's not you.
Okay.
That's on because even when I looked up then, it's like, oh, he's playing Frankenstein. But looking at the pictures, he is Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
Frankenstein was the scientist.
Yeah.
His creation was the monster.
Yeah. Okay. You guys saw when you're mad. It's funny.
Oh, no, I was just writing stuff down.
No,
I'm
you're mad.
actually mad about this. Jesus,
Yeah, yeah.
I can't
But
believe I'm actually
we've
getting
got
mad.
June part 3 is officially in development. I would have thought they would already started filming it rather than it's in
Yeah, true.
development. Like considering how popular it got, I would have
But I
thought,
guess when you've got like a cast like that, they probably also need to give them a break so they can work on other projects.
true, true. They would have been like lined up for heaps of other things.
Have you seen that edit on TikTok? There's heaps now. Like there was one really big one where it was like, ladies and gentlemen, gather round or whatever it is. And it's like, my name is Paul Atreides.
Yeah.
And it's like goes into like this fucking song. It's yeah, sick edit.
Okay.
Did that a few times.
You're right.
Paul Atreides, Duke of Arrakis.
I haven't heard
Fucking
that, but
I was
hey,
sending it to you. It has
all
like
right.
15 million likes, something. It's huge.
Oof,
Blew
oof.
up.
Yeah, right. That's kind of cool. But do you remember Margot Robbie and Olivia Wilde? Do you remember those two actors?
Well, yeah, of course I remember those
No,
two
okay,
actors.
just checking. Olivia Wilde, I haven't heard from in a while.
No,
I remember her in House was the last thing I saw her in, I reckon.
okay, fair enough.
And then they are teaming up for the newest adaptation of a comic book, which is Angeline. Angeline looks like a badass sword swinging warrior. So the
Oh,
living
me.
embodiment of the seven deadly sins, and she saved actual Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. So
Evangeline.
Evangeline. So yeah, they're in that newest one.
Sweet.
Yep.
And the X-Men producer Simon Kinberg joined
hmm
forces.
So I'm
Oh,
hoping
he's a
it's good.
character from Deadpool. Okay.
Yeah. Look, I don't know that much of Deadpool's
Me
history,
either.
but who knows?
But she looks cool.
She does look
She actually
cool.
looks a little bit like Olivia Wilde, like facial bone structure wise.
Hmm. I don't know where Margot Robbie comes in though.
Probably just I wonder in the acting side or if joined forces because Margot Robbie's got her production company and stuff now. I'm not sure if it's
Okay, maybe.
interesting. Yeah. Okay, look, I don't care about comics obviously, but Margot Robbie is fucking killing it at the moment.
Yep, there
Like you
is.
say, I haven't seen Olivia Wilde anything for quite some time, but you know,
Yeah.
speaking of some time, she was in Time. That movie is fucking garbage. We should
Uh,
make a. I was thinking of this the other day. We should make a um movie talks bingo board, and one of those things needs to be me saying garbage because I say garbage all the time.
you do. You do. But there is a brand new horror film trailer out now. It's called Cuckoo, which is Dan Stevens in a wild new horror. So it's a rural resort in the German Alps, and I would imagine that someone's haunting them or slasher. It looks like a slasher film. One of those isolation, you go to a retreat and then there is
Yeah, yeah,
someone.
like Cabin in the Woods and everything.
Yep, yep. So can you imagine
Yeah,
that?
sure. I'm looking it up now.
And
Yeah, looks like everything else.
yep.
Sure.
So
I'm sure
yeah.
it'll get made. I'm sure it'll be made pretty cheap and it'll make a bit of money and they'll do a sequel.
Mhm. And then we've also got Moana 2, plot details and new images confirm
Oh,
three
there you go.
year time jump.
Okay.
So three
Yeah.
years have passed. They're going to jump in. That's kind of cool. Moving it on rather than just where it takes off. So we'll see where that goes. We've got the Matrix 5 coming from director Drew Goddard. So,
Matrix
and
5. Oh my God.
Matrix 5. Keanu
I didn't think number
Reeves
four
is.
did well enough.
No, but
Or three.
uh, Keanu Reeves is in the picture. So I'm wondering if he's going to. Plot details are withheld from now, nor do we know who from the films, including the likes of Keanu Reeves, might be returning.
Oh, sure. He's in
Yeah,
four, right?
I can't remember because
I haven't seen four.
no, one was great, two was okay, three was, I just remember all the Agent Smiths and that was it, like the big fight. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
the
yeah.
rest of them, like, okay,
That's in
no fun.
two.
Was it? I thought it was three.
When all the clones of
Yeah.
Hugo Weaving's, yeah, it's two.
Oh, okay. Well,
In the
then
street. Yeah, yeah.
I can't remember three then.
Three isn't great.
No.
Three is the one where a lot of it takes place in like the city
Oh, okay. Oh, that's where
rather
they
than in the
do.
Matrix.
That's where they do the full revolution, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why it's called Revolutions,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
guess.
Fair.
Yeah, yeah.
The last two
Yeah,
bits
three's not
of
great. He wraps things up nicely, but I'm a big fan of the first two. Number
okay.
two is fucking great. Number one's amazing, obviously, but number two is really fun.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And
please go on.
and then we've got Joker. They've got the first poster ahead of the trailer debut, which is coming. It looks cool. I'm keen because the
Mm,
first one was pretty amazing. So
I still haven't watched it. I know
okay.
I need to because I've heard nothing but amazing things, but
Yeah.
I still haven't watched it.
Okay. Stop
That's what I'll do
rewatching
this
things.
week. Yeah, I agree. That one
Yep.
I agree with because I need to watch that
Yep.
desperately.
And this one goes into this bit of news goes into our first item off the block. It is Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire makes monster debut. It has 195 million on debut.
Wow.
195 million.
Wow.
Mm,
What was I'm looking at the budget for it as well. 135. Yep, so they've already made money.
yep.
It's
They've
grossed 226 worldwide
already.
already.
Wow.
Yep.
It's kicking. It's kicking
It's already the
goals.
seventh highest grossing film of 2024. I mean, that's, it's pretty early, but
Yeah. But still.
yeah, insane.
Yeah. All right, well, let's kick it off into Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. So, two ancient titans, Godzilla and Kong, clash in an epic battle as humans unravel their intertwined origins and connection to Skull Island's mysteries. So, this
Sure.
is focused around the team of people, which almost don't need to be in the film whatsoever.
Nope. Totally
like,
agree.
like, besides the girl, the Jaya, can't believe it's Jaya.
Oh, the mute one from the actual
Yeah,
village. Yeah.
JIA, the
Yeah.
last remnant who cannot speak, but does was it is it Ausland? I don't know what the is Ausland
Auslan,
the
Australia. It's just called sign or American sign.
okay sign language and
Yeah,
communicates with her, I guess, adopted family. She's the key to unlocking.
Eileen. Yeah,
Yep, unlocking the other Titan who's going to help them save. Who doesn't
Mothra.
doesn't even really appear in the film for like
Nope.
at
Mothra
all.
rocks up, has a chat with Godzilla, and then fucks off.
He does nothing. So
uh, can I give
King,
my synopsis so we can
sorry,
it's actually pretty long, don't worry about it.
you want to
I,
do
s-
the
I was
synopsis?
I wrote this big synopsis of
Go.
like every event that happens.
Okay. I was
All right, go.
just kicking off because the human sides annoyed me. Like,
Yeah, I literally wrote my notes that I would prefer this without the humans. Imagine this movie with no dialogue. They're pretty cool.
yeah,
Like it'd be approachable for every language. It would just be the humans living in the hollow world and then all the kaiju's fighting and stuff.
yeah,
That'd be pretty sick.
it would
I'd like it
almost
more.
be like John Wick 4, where it was like half an hour of
Oh yeah,
dialogue or less, and then it's just action from there on out.
have none. Have no dialogue.
Mm.
No one cares about the story in this.
I mean,
Like,
the story is that minimal. It was like all of a sudden there's a threat, and then Godzilla and Kong need to team up and fight that threat. That
yep,
was it.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So
It's I fucking hated Eileen. She was so annoying.
all of the humans are annoying. Every
Yeah,
single one of them. Like
every
they,
human scene is just bring back Godzilla, bring back Kong. Because you don't
yeah,
like, even for me, for someone who doesn't even like all this action schlock, I still was watching this like, okay, I'm not watching this for any of this. I wanted to see more because I'm gonna say some of the action scenes pretty cool.
really cool. I
Yeah.
did. The only time I did like the humans was when Kong needed some upgrades, where he got like a tooth infection.
Oh,
They're like,
stupid as shit.
yeah, but that's like the 80s humor though. Like I didn't mind that when Kong was like even had a little bit of 80s humor rather than it was just like continual one-liners. It was like actual funny at times. Like it was just that little
Yeah.
giggle
That's when it
where
steers into the silliness. When it was
yeah.
like they're like, oh, we've what was it? What they call it? Project something with his big arm upgrade, and
Yeah,
this
no,
thing flies in and like magically attaches itself to his arm, and all of a sudden he's better. Because I don't really understand. Did it give him some medicine as well? I don't know.
yeah,
And then
because it
he gets
injects
up.
like you see the three injections come in, so it's like a
Yeah, yeah,
painkiller, I
yeah.
guess. And he's like,
I
I think he
guess.
likes it, and he's like, "Ugh."
Yeah, I laughed at that. So I hope he likes it. And he's like pumps up in the air and fucking like roars. And they're like, yeah, he likes it. Like, I laughed at that. It's so stupid. And the dentistry scene,
Like that's
like they
the
gave him this
only
false tooth.
yeah, that's the only time you need the humans in there, just for like a little bit of comic relief, and then let the kaiju's go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like that stuff's funny because it's like it's nonsense.
yeah,
And that's sort of what this movie needed more. Like I think like steer into that. Make more of those dumb scenes where they don't make any sense, but like they're just cool. The rule of cool, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
yeah.
Fuck it.
I gotta say, the pace of this was ridiculous. Like it just chugged along. Like there was no point where I was like, oh, we got a little bit of downtime here. It was like, bang, here's the fight scene. Here's the next setup for the kaiju. Here's the next kaiju. Here's Star King. Oh, Star
Yep.
King is controlling I can't remember the blue smaller thingo's name.
I called him
Um,
Ice Stiller.
yeah, and he controls it through pain. Star King was cool. I liked Star King with his bone whip,
Was it
which is
Scar King?
star because he ate a star. He's a star.
Oh, I thought it was Scar. I
No,
misheard.
star. Because his whole like
Okay.
backstory is that he ate a star, and that's why he's a bit more powerful than everyone else. And that his, his bone weapon
Sure.
is the spine from
Yeah, yeah.
another kaiju, and that's why
I
it's
apologize. I'm sorry to correct you, but it is in fact Scar King,
is it?
Skar.
Mm,
It is indeed.
okay, there you go.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah,
Maybe he did eat a star, but that's not his name.
there you go. There you go. But yeah, like it's just
But who cares,
yeah, it just
really?
sets it up, and then all of a sudden Scar King becomes the threat, and he wants to. I'm not entirely sure about his motives, but he's like traveling, and
He wants to
then
take over the world,
yeah, just
over the human
because,
world.
just
Yep.
just cause.
Just because he's bored of Hollow World, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Also, the scaling of things is so confusing. There's like
Oh, it's
moments
dumb.
where I'm like, oh, that's like a really small enclosure, and then they zoom out of the ship flying, and it's like huge. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is happening here? And then when they finally get into the human world, they're ginormous, and things
Yeah.
are exploding. And I was like, the scaling is all over the place. I just couldn't work out
I thought
exactly
the same thing.
how big they were.
I know because there's a scene where the whole arm replacement scene where Kong like reaches up to Jaya, what the fucking name is, and he's like his finger is enormous, and she's like Kong size. Then we see Kong pick up a human at one point, and the
Yep.
human's like as big as his palm when he grabs her. It's like the consistency. I don't know, but yeah, you're not wrong. Like, but again, do I give a shit? Like,
No, but it was just moments where I was
but
like,
it's bad.
this is
Yeah.
confusing. But like,
I
mm,
was did you notice there was one really awful product placement with VW at the beginning?
no,
There's a shot where Eileen goes and picks up Jaya from somewhere, I think from school, and they get in this VW of some description. I don't know which car it was. And it's like it looks like an advertisement shot. The car's like center of the camera, it takes up the majority of the camera, and it's like around it is all like tropical and beautiful. It looked like it was awful. Some product placement's pretty what's called inconspicuous,
yeah,
but like pretty subtle. This was really bad.
okay,
Anyway, not important. I just want to point it out because it was one of those things that you're like, okay, this is where they get some money
all right. This is a B grade film that has got a cult following,
with an
and
A
now
grade budget.
yeah, and now they've gone. We're gonna pump this out with CGI. Some of the CGI and the fight scenes
Mm,
are incredible. Other
yep.
times
And
you're like,
then
hmm, this is a bit average. Like
yeah,
it's just
every
it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed
yeah,
bag of lollies, and you don't know what you're gonna get the
it's
entire
like
time.
they really cared about some of the scenes. And then there's a moment where their ship is flying around and it looked like PS2 graphics. And there's a part where the Scar King walks in and starts like yelling at his ape friends or whatever, and it looked like PS3, slightly better, but still horrible. Kind of lost frames a little bit as well. Like it looked bizarre.
Yeah,
It's weird how that happens. Like obviously they just spend more money on certain scenes than others.
yeah.
Because
I
again, the end
think
fight scene was insane.
yeah. Same with when Kong and Godzilla first like see each other and they're fighting, and I was like, whoa, this is cool. But I also don't
Mm.
understand why like Kong was running away from Godzilla's like laser beam, and then all of a sudden, then he ducked, and he was like, oh, okay, laser beam stopped because I ducked it, and I was like,
Does it
oh,
look cool?
okay, yeah, it was cool. And then they just teamed up. They were like, oh, how do they communicate? I don't understand how Titans communicate to each other.
I'm assuming that it's because we're told that the humans that live in the Hollow Earth communicate telepathically. I'm also assuming that the kaiju's, or titans, I call them, communicate telepathically. That being said, Mothra definitely makes like some sounds.
Yeah.
Mothra like squeaks at them and stuff.
But like, why wouldn't Kong all of a sudden, when he first sees Godzilla, be like, "Hey, we need to team up. There's a big threat," rather than go, "I'm going to fight you for a little bit. Then you're going to listen to me." Like, I'm so confused about that. I don't understand how
Yeah,
they
well,
talk to each
literally
other.
because action movie. They wanted to give
Yeah,
us as many, like the same reason that Godzilla fought that pink serpent thing. Why? What was that? Where was that? Why was that even had a purpose? There was some submarine people there as well. There was no purpose to that. I don't understand.
I also got annoyed. It was like you're the last one of the tribe from whatever, and then all of a sudden there's a whole nother tribe. I was like, oh, okay.
Mm.
You're not the
They
last
were
one.
hidden.
Yeah, okay. It's
They
kind
tried
of
giving us like this really soppy, like, you can stay here with your people. You are my people.
Mm,
Okay.
mm.
All right.
Just get rid of them. Get rid of them. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
But
This
like,
was this was the full film. Ready? I've got this is my
go.
notes. Godzilla fights large angry dogs.
Mm.
Sorry, not Godzilla. Kong. Kong fights large angry dogs. Godzilla fights a spider crab for some reason. Kong has a tooth removed. Godzilla fights humans. Kong fights other apes. Humans run from tree with teeth, which was a weird scene as well.
Yeah,
Uh, Kong fights blue sea serpent. Godzilla fights pink sea serpent. Humans meet different humans. Kong fights red ape. Kong runs from ice Godzilla that's
he's
being
a
controlled by red ape.
he's a chimp though.
He's a chimp.
Mm.
Okay,
He's
fair enough.
chimpanzee.
I'll correct that. He's a
Different
chimp,
builds.
sure. Kong gets drippy arm tech. Mothra rocks up. Godzilla and Kong finally fight. They pull a Batman v Superman and they all team up because Mothra said so.
It's
Kong,
just Mothra.
yeah, right. I love Mothra as well, but
It's- what noise does a
Kong
moth
Godzilla.
make though?
Sorry.
What noise does a moth make?
Yeah, right. It's like squeaks at them and stuff, and yeah, it was such a weird scene because they're in mid combat and Mothra all majestic comes in and just talks, and then just like look at each other and like little bro high five.
Yeah.
They don't touch, but they had this little fucking moment and they go off and fight Red Ape and Kong
Also,
and Godzilla versus Red Kong and Ice Godzilla.
yeah. Yep. That's
This fight continues in Brazil. Literally millions of people die in the crossfire. They destroyed so many buildings. The beach was wrecked. Like Brazil, like Rio de Janeiro, is incredibly overpopulated. There millions of people died in that scene.
yep.
Kong and Godzilla Rombo combo Red Kong was pretty sick. Kong adopts a son and Ice Dog. Credits roll.
Yep.
That's pretty much the entire movie.
That's it. But did you ever have a moment when you were like, I'm over this?
Just every human scene.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
when the humans wandering around doing stuff and walking through the jungle and
Yep.
like the scene with the man getting eaten by the like tree with teeth and
Yep.
that's when I was over it. But like every Kong and Godzilla scene, I'm like, yeah, this is dumb fun.
Mm,
Like I don't care about what's happening, but I don't have to pay attention. Like it's nice to
mm.
because this is my third movie I watched in a row,
Yep.
and I didn't have to pay attention to any of the story here, which was nice.
I mean, the story just rolled along. It was just,
Yeah, I didn't
and like,
care.
it was so quick. There was like barely, the only downtime was the human scenes. I'm like, let's move on from these humans.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
That's why it'd been better if it was just more random animal fight scenes, literally zero dialogue. I would have liked. Like even if you want to have subtitles, everyone communicates in sign, or there's like, I think yeah, it would be interesting. It would be an interesting take on a film like this to have like zero dialogue. You know, I would have like commended it for it.
Okay.
Uh,
Interesting.
but yeah, if there was no humans, it would have been a better movie.
How would
Also,
they
was there
like,
meant to be a sexual chemistry between the YouTube guy and the vet? They were like they were vibing. I was getting a little bit of energy there.
yeah, right. I didn't pick up on that. I was like, maybe, who knows? How would they have publicized the movie then if they didn't have the human actors? Because you know how the human actors go on their like press conference and like, yeah, we're in the movie. This is what the movie's about. Would they just get like CGI Kong to go and do the press conferences and go, "Roar."
Yeah.
Like,
Have him walk in. Hi, Kong, a new movie.
look
I
at
mean,
it.
could have been fun. Because
Mm,
that's the thing. Like, steer into the stupidity of it.
yeah,
That would have been funny as. That
you
would have
just
got people
need
talking about it.
just need to find like an 8 foot person to go in a like ape suit.
Just get everyone to interview a fucking tennis ball on a string. But, that's how they do CGI where to look and stuff.
Yeah.
And then just CG in every interview with like fucking giant gorilla or fucking do Godzilla, do Mothra, do interviews with Scar King.
Yeah.
That'd be fun as,
That'd
right?
be cool. And just get Mothra to rock up and be like, interview's over.
Yeah, yeah. Because I said so. Yeah, it was stupid. Like I'm not gonna say I had fun because I was pretty switched off most of the time. But like the end scene with Godzilla and what I write, King Kong and Godzilla versus Red Kong and Ice Godzilla was pretty sick. Like
Yeah.
the little combo they do and stuff, and like you can tell that that's where they put most of their efforts. And well done. There's like an anti-gravity fight where they're like jumping between rocks, and it's pretty dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like for what it was, that was a cool scene.
Yeah. I liked it. Here's the top five Godzilla movies that you need to watch. One is Godzilla, the 1954 original. Then you've got
Yep,
the
would have watched when I was a kid.
yep. Then you've got the 2016 Shin Godzilla,
I've heard good things. I haven't watched it yet.
and then you've got the 1964 Mothra vs Godzilla,
Okay.
and then you've got the 2014 Godzilla, which I'm surprised makes it on the list.
The 14 one, yeah, right.
Yeah. And then you've got the 2021 Godzilla vs Kong. So the
Yeah,
first,
which this is supposedly the fifth in the MonsterVerse universe, and this is the first one I've watched. So there were a few things I'm like, okay, I don't really understand why, like the whole thing with Jaya and even what Hollow Earth was and stuff. Like I knew nothing about what was going on, but I mean, it's not very complex. I could piece it together
no.
pretty quick.
And Hollow Earth is, well, like inside of Earth. Also, the inside of Earth is massive.
But it also felt like it was like a separate dimension. The way they go through like a portal to get there,
Yeah.
it felt almost like other dimensiony. And there was like a subterranean. There was like a hidden Hollow Earth that they hadn't explored as well, which Kong goes to. That's where Scar King is.
Yeah. I also
There's no
didn't
rules to this.
I also didn't know Godzilla was made to protect humanity.
Yeah, well, no, Godzilla is to protect nature and Kong is to protect humans,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they said.
But he always pops up.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I
No.
don't know if that's actually in the kaiju like lore or if that's just made up for this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. But then how's the end where he just like sleeps in the Colosseum? I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's like his home
Now
for
it's
some
his home.
reason. And they destroyed the pyramids and they
So
killed millions of people in Rio, and
yeah,
no one ever talks about any of that. Like
because
they've
it's nature.
yeah, I don't know. What about all the human things like pyramids and the Colosseum are like two of our most biggest feats as human in human existence, and they
Yeah.
just wreck them. And the
Yeah.
movie's like, yeah, that's great.
I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? They're massive.
Yeah, they're massive.
Yeah. What would you give it?
Yeah, it's like a 1.5,
Oh, all right.
maybe even a 2. I
Okay.
still wouldn't say it's good,
Okay.
but like there are cool scenes.
Yeah. Right.
Let's give it a 2
Okay.
because I don't know. Maybe I'll revisit my number once I give the other ones numbers because it wasn't the worst thing I watched.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Mm,
I give it a 3. Like I had fun time. I had a fun time. But it
yeah,
wasn't like my standout action that I was hoping for. Like it was cool, but the humans brought it down, and I was just confused about some of the things like Mothra rocking up and bits and pieces.
yeah,
But other than that, like I had a good time just watching it. Some fun. I would
yeah.
have liked
It's nonsense.
more like dumb fun though.
Exactly. Like don't try and take this seriously, and don't try and like over explain things
Yeah,
when no one's watching it for that. Like sometimes I think like in stream the other night said, well, every movie needs to be like deep and meaningful.
mm,
So I'm like, what, that's a fair point. This could have been more fun and got a better rating if it was
yep,
just dumber,
yep,
I think.
yep, yeah. All right, we'll move on to our next one, which is imaginary. Bum, bum, bum. All right, Imaginary, the newest horror film that is coming out by I think it is the people that brought you. What is Blumhouse? It is Blumhouse.
It's House, yeah.
Yeah, from the producers of Five Nights at Freddy's, which we've watched and reviewed, and you can see that in the early
Uh-huh.
episodes, and Megan with a 3, which is
Yep.
getting a sequel, and I'm hoping it's Megan with a 4. I don't know how they'll fit the 4 in the title, but I'm
In the
hoping
A.
that's somehow. You reckon the A will be the 4?
Yep.
Do you reckon it'll be 3 and then the A will be a 4? and it'll be Megan 34.
34.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were calling it.
Yeah.
And I think we said a little while ago that they would do the next one would be Megan's, and the S in Megan's will be a
Yeah.
5.
Nice. Yeah. What you're gonna run out of like names or like letters to turn into numbers.
Yeah,
I
the whole
feel
thing
like
is going to be like wingdings by the end.
it's just it's just numbers.
Yeah, Batman
So
symbol and shit.
yeah. This is a woman returns to her childhood home to discover that the imaginary friend she left behind is very real and unhappy that she abandoned him. Bum, bum, bum.
Yep,
So
that's
yeah.
literally the whole movie.
Mm, this I don't even know how I feel about this movie. It was
You don't?
it was bizarre. The
I know
whole
how I feel.
thing.
It's fucking shit.
Yeah. But like some of it I was like, oh, okay, that was kind of cool. And then I was disappointed. So this is following Jessica, who is in a relationship with Max, who Max has two kids, which is Alice and Taylor. Taylor is a 15-year-old girl. Alice, I don't think they ever said the names, but they move across back into Jessica's family home, and she is a child book author,
Yeah.
artist. She does the
Uh-huh.
artistry as well. And she has all these different um, creatures, which I feel like is a bit creepy. Like the spider looks pretty creepy that she has in her book because
Yeah,
she has like nightmares of this spider, but the spider is quite scary for
for sure. It was
for
very like Coraline.
yeah, like for a
Like it looked,
child's book,
yeah,
which
I totally agree.
yeah. So they've moved back. She is working from home, creating a new book about the spider doing something. I don't really care what the spider was doing, but she's having nightmares. And then they joke about it. Max is, I don't even know what Max does. He's just there and then leaves for a little bit so that Jessica is looking
He's like
after.
I think he's in a band because he's like, oh, I can cancel my tour.
Okay.
She's like, no, you go. And then he's like, he says something like, you're helping them make new memories. You're helping heal them. It's like, well, where the fuck are you going? If they need
Yeah.
to heal and make new memories, you're disappearing on some tour.
Because apparently mum went into rehab or something or other. It was like very quickly stated that
Yeah,
mum
I think it
had
was
some
more
troubles.
more mental health stuff than it was drug stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't know. She was doing something. So
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. They're in the house. Taylor is a 15-year-old girl that is having beef with Jessica. He's not happy with Jessica, which is never fully explained why she has beef with Jessica. It's just kind of
No,
it's like
she treats her like shit.
it's like resentment or something like you're not my mum
Just because
kind of
stepmom. Yeah,
style.
exactly. You're not my fucking mother.
Yeah. But like Jessica just seems nice and friendly and just wants kind of the best
Too
for her.
friendly.
Mm,
She treats these girls like I feel like if I was a step parent and there was this 15-year-old girl who's like, no matter how nice I was being to them. Obviously, this is some time because you don't shack up with a man and his kids unless you've been with them for quite a while. So, she's been part of this girl's life for at least, in my opinion, well, from my what I would think, at least a year or two, maybe longer.
yeah.
And she's treating me like shit. I wouldn't be so nice and so loving to someone who treated me like absolute shit every time we even had any discussions.
Yeah.
And even Alice doesn't treat her very nicely for a young child.
No, so I think well, Alice is following the footsteps. Like her role model is Taylor for
Yeah, I understand.
a fair
Yeah.
bit of the film, so that's what she's saying. So she's
Yeah,
acting
yeah.
like it. But Alice develops this, well, finds this um, doll or this stuffed bear, and it is Chauncey,
Chauncey.
and it begins all innocent. Alice is playing with an imaginary friend,
Hmm.
and then there's only one jump scare that gets me in this film, and it was when she was having tea, and it was like, oh, there was a leg, and the leg disappears, and then all of a sudden it's like the mum rushes out. I was like, is the mum real? I was like,
Oh yeah.
what is this? I was like, whoa. Like
Yeah.
it
I thought
actually
in the way they've been talking up until that point, I thought pardon me, I thought the mum had died.
Yeah, I was like, is the mum the imaginary friend? And then
Yeah.
it just turns out like the mum's like, oh no, I've been texting my mum because I thought she'd improved. And then that after that scene, it is never referenced again. She's just gone.
No,
I was like, oh,
literally.
why are we having this? Was this meant to be like a red herring moment where mum was the imaginary friend?
Yeah, it was just there for a jump scare.
Yeah,
Mum is because they don't even mention, like they mention her a few times, obviously, but they don't mention like she doesn't come up or reappear at all or have any sort of reincorporation. She's just there for that one scene to create a jump scare, which obviously worked.
yeah.
So yeah, you're not wrong. Like that was, I thought that was going to be like you said, something to do with the story, some sort of like twist. The mum had been in the house. I thought it was gonna be like a frogging story. Mum would be in the house the whole time, but
Mm,
that would have been almost too clever for this
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, so it was bizarre. And then we get Alice continuing her relationship with Chansey and Chansey getting her to write a list. And this list was bizarre.
Yep.
And the progression where this list goes to ends up being some like ritual. I was like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
Where and
Just
then
convenience for convenience sake.
like this film was extremely convenient. And then I thought, oh, hang on, Gloria's going to be a stitch up. Gloria had no real part in this film at all, besides giving you a little bit of information. And I was
Fuck
like,
was Gloria.
Gloria was the babysitter.
Oh, the old woman. No, yeah,
Yeah,
she's just there. There's always a character in these poorly written horrors where someone needs to explain the history, the
yeah.
exposition dump, and there's this old woman who funniest scene in the whole movie was her when they're in the
When she
imaginary
gets in
land.
there,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and then she closes the door because she wants to stay in imagination land. Every we can live here, we can live all our dreams, and she's having this big dialogue dump of why she needs to live there. And then this fucking hand reaches out from a door, pulls her in, and eats her up. And
Right.
it's actually painted like a comedy. A lot of this feels like a comedy. If there was different music and different lighting, it's just a comedy from start
Yeah.
to finish, 100%.
Like
Especially 1.5 times speed that I watched it at.
there are I was a bit confused. Like I didn't know what they were trying to go for. Like, is imaginary land meant to like what's feeding the imagination land? Is it like them taking children? Like, why is this person continually taking children? Like,
Yeah,
what's
supposedly, because that's why it turns out that Chauncey wasn't after Alice. Chauncey was after Jess the
Jessica
whole time.
because he felt
And
abandoned?
well, and Jessica has the imagination to feed the world, supposedly. So she's unique. She has such a vivid imagination that her imagination is so powerful that it helps feed this imagination land. And that's what I think they would like. That's what they were saying, but they really explain how that works or like what the mechanics are of
No.
is imagination land. Can it exist without imagination? What's been happening in the past 30 years while she's been or 20 years while she's been growing up?
Yeah.
Like,
Does
does
that
imagination
mean
land only exist within this house as well?
does
Are
imagination
there more?
land not exist if no one can imagine things? It's like if they keep taking all the people with good
Mm.
imagination, where does everyone how do they keep
Because there
powering it?
was the doctor who came in said that there was other cases of she showed some footage of some kid talking about his imaginary friend and having to hurt
Yeah.
himself and to do the ritual,
Yeah.
and then he disappeared. And it's like, well, so this is happening elsewhere. Why is surely you know 50 kids from around wherever the fuck they are? Who cares? But surely that's more powerful than one woman's imagination.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand the drive, but
No.
again, because a
So
movie.
it's just it wasn't scary though. Like
No,
nothing
never.
in this besides that one jump scare was I like, oh, that's spooky. Like the bear is meant to be scary. It's meant to be like ominous and spooky, but it's not. The bear sitting there was not spooky at all.
Never.
At all. Like,
The scene where when Jess comes in, she's spilling her heart to Alice in bed, and then Alice is outside and she pulls the blanket away, and it's Chauncey in the bed. It's that like that's meant to be because they played the music to make it it's scary, but it wasn't scary. It didn't feel scary at all.
no.
I feel like this was made. for kids. Like almost like a the fact that kids these days are watching horror movies. Like I was at one of my wife's friends' houses the other day, and her kids were like 11 watching Scream 6. Like kids watch horror movies these days.
Okay.
And I feel like this was aimed at like, you know, 10-year-old horror fans. But a lot of it is just nonsense.
It
And
was
and
it was
like
so dumb.
not scary, not scary, scary, like really lazy jump scares.
Yeah. How was
But it's
the
Blumhouse.
the next door neighbor kid? I was like, why are we having this scene?
Oh,
This was meant to be like your.
and he
It was kind of like the turning moment where it was like, oh, Chauncey's not like your friend, and like Liam had the pills and then
yep,
it's like let's drink, and then breaks the bottle, and it was like, oh,
yep,
okay. I was like,
trying to
okay,
be
cool,
cool.
yeah. But it,
It's that
God, he was
scene,
annoying.
yeah, was really, really bad with those three child actors.
Yeah,
Really
Alice
bad.
Alice was not good.
No, they're all bad.
Taylor wasn't that
Taylor
bad
was
as
probably
like
the better of the three.
with a 15-year-old attitude. Like I
Yeah,
thought the
and she's
attitude was
16 in
pretty
real
boring.
life.
Yeah, but still,
Yeah, yeah,
the attitude was real.
yeah.
Yeah,
But he was super fucking annoying. And I thought the end was going to be sort of them teaming up and him having to be like reincorporated and brought back in and like, oh, look, he's a bit of an idiot, but he's going to help save the day. But they didn't bring him back ever. He had
no,
nothing to do with later in the story. He was just there for a jump scare.
yep.
So Chauncey could scare someone and it couldn't be anybody else because they didn't believe that Chauncey was real at that point.
And guess what
And
they
like he was
did?
like, sorry, what?
No, you go, because I'm going to jump to the close to the ending.
Oh, sure. The part where he's in the bathroom and he sees a bear shape under a towel and he pees on himself.
Yep.
Uh, he's like, look in the mirror. It's like, no, you're just tripping. But he knows he's not tripping. He knows he just took that was just for the audience. So much of, and that's the fucking a big problem with this thing the whole way through. So much of the scares, things like creeping in the background behind characters looking at them, is just for the audience. It's so fucking dumb. Anyway,
Hmm.
go towards
It
the end.
ran the very stereotypical, we need to get rid of this by lighting on a fire horror
Yep.
trope. Yep. So the house
Literally every
burns
time.
down. Yep.
Hmm.
And then we get a setup for a sequel. I was like, oh,
Yep.
surely we don't need a sequel of this. Surely
Nope.
this is not going to do that well. I was like,
Well, it'll do well enough.
you reckon?
Blumhouse.
Hmm.
It would
Okay.
have cost nothing. I'll look at the budget. One thing I actually give it credit for, pardon me,
There was
was the
one
bait and
really
switch
cool
at the
shot
end.
with
Was a
the.
cool shot.
I really liked the. I thought they did it pretty well when the Alice was talking with the what's it called, the psychiatrist or the the lady that
Oh,
came
the
in and
doctor. Yeah, whatever. The
interviewed
child
her.
doctor.
Like the voice sucked and it wasn't like spooky, but then
Yep.
where they're like, oh look, the bears. No one else can see the bear at all besides Jessica and Alice.
Yeah.
I was
That
like,
reveal.
that was a cool shot where they reshot
Yep.
all of them. Yeah. Other than that, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I
But it looked
hated the
dumb
part.
because the child actor trying to interact with nothing looks like shit.
Yeah. Also, the little ritual where it was like, no, you need a real emotion, where Jessica has a shot at Taylor. I was
I
like, this
know.
is so dumb.
Yeah.
It needed to be real.
Yeah, the kids can hurt themselves physically, but then when the adult hurts themselves physically, it's not good enough. So she just like fucking tears into Taylor. Like it's your fault that your mother left, more or less.
It's
And
so
like that was because it had to be real pain. Like what? Why is that real pain? But fucking
yeah.
stabbing your hand with a pair of scissors isn't real pain. Cutting your finger off isn't. I don't know. This cost 10 million. It's already made 37.
No.
So
No.
it's cheap. It's real cheap. There was not much, not many you know, pardon me, CGI effects in this either. Like a lot of it was, it's a bear. It's a
Mm.
bear underneath a blanket. There was only really that big scary bear that we saw, and the actual imagination land. Imagination.
It's all I can think about.
I know. it's Yeah, so the one thing I actually give it credit for, which I was like, oh, that's, not too bad, but also very cliched, was the bait and switch at the end where they get out and then, it looks like a happy ever after where she's written her story and she's reading it to her dad in hospital and everything looks really nice and pretty. And then they go, I never left. And
Yeah.
then, she's back in imagination land. And that threw me a little bit. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting that moment. I was expecting it to be, that was kind of the cleverest writing the whole way through. That's a
Yeah.
word now.
But the
But
black eyes sucked. I was it
the
doesn't look
black
good.
eye,
The black eyes when they were like,
oh,
it's me.
try to make him look like Teddy's eyes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks so dumb.
Yeah. It wasn't great.
Yeah, look, I'm trying to figure out where I put this on the rest of the Blumhouse scale. At this point, we've watched a few. We watched Megan, we've watched Night Swim. I'm trying to think of other ones we've watched, but
See, I prefer those two over this. Where like Night Swim I laughed at because it was just dumb.
it was really dumb.
And
Yeah,
then Megan I
Night Swim was
laughed
funnier.
because it was like the doll had some funny moments where I was like, and I had a little bit of spookiness to begin with, and then it fell off. But this was just average. Like it was
Yeah,
just
I found Act Three pretty decent. Like when they're in Imagination Land, and there were like I feel like if the whole movie was kind of like that, like Labyrinth, where they're in
mm,
imagination, they're going from room to room, they're trying to like figure out the way out of it, it would have been better. But
mm,
you can tell that was like the most expensive part to shoot as well. So they wouldn't have done that much of it,
okay.
like intentionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I sort of didn't mind it. But like that end part, I probably enjoyed more than any of Night Swim.
Okay.
But like you said, Night Swim is funnier. Like
Yeah.
so many one-liners I still think about. We have a pool. I still think about that all the fucking time. It's his dumb little face.
Oh, you're meant to say polo.
Yeah, right. So that's why like I had a funner time with Night Swim, but Night Swim's probably a worse movie, is my point.
Yeah, right. It's just crazy.
What's that written? Uh
But it's also not the worst horror film I've seen. Like the
no.
Exorcist one,
Yeah, 100%.
I would watch this over that.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that Exorcist one was horrendous. Horrendous. What else
Yeah,
you got?
if my notes now, that's it. We've pretty much said everything. The
Yeah.
music, oh, the music, the only last thing is the first like four notes of the music that they keep reincorporating is the same four notes as the Home Alone music.
Hmm.
And all I could sing every single time I heard the music played in this was fucking Home Alone. Na, 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 na. The first four notes were that na, 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 na. And that was enough to me to be like, oh, Home Alone.
Okay. I didn't
Not
pick that
important,
up.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
What would you give it
it's
then?
didn't like it. What I give it, I don't know. I'm on the fence. It's either a one or a one and a half. Like
I'll go one. I'm giving
I
it a
go,
one.
yeah, I think one because I gave Kong a one and a half, and I probably enjoyed that more than this.
Oh, I enjoyed Kong way more than this. This was
But the
this
end
was
isn't bad.
yeah, but still nothing. Still a build up to an okay ending.
Uh, we gave Saving Bikini Bottom Sandy Cheek Story a one recently.
Mm,
Uh, Rebel Moon one.
yeah. Part two is
Like,
coming soon.
oh yeah, right. We said that
Mm,
last week as well. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know where I put this against Sandy Cheeks. I think it's slightly better than that. I'm gonna give it like a one and a 1.2. It's
Mm,
slightly better than a one, slightly, especially the Act Three
okay.
and the bait and switch, but it's still not a one and a half.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, it's still a one. Still a one.
one.
Can't
That's
can't give
fair.
can't
I
give
can
it.
see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's get into Immaculate Sydney Sweeney. Do you know
Let's.
she actually produced this as well?
Yeah, I heard she resurrected this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
heard it died years and years ago. But she was
And
like, let's bring it back.
yeah, and then she brought it back. And good
Yep.
on her. So far we've seen her in the very, very successful rom-com Anyone But You, where she plays the popular, independent, strong woman. in that, and then
Yep.
we've seen her play a invisible nobody in Madam Web,
Yep.
and then we've seeing her as a innocent, devoted nun in Immaculate.
Yep.
So Cecilia, a woman of devoted faith, is warmly welcomed to the picture perfect Italian countryside where she is offered a new role at an illustrious convent. But it becomes clear to Cecilia that her new home harbors dark and horrifying secrets. I almost messed up on Cecilia. Cecilia,
Cecilia. Sister
Cecilia,
Cecilia.
Sister Cecilia.
Yeah, this
So,
is the first time I didn't hate her.
oh, oh, okay. Look
I'm
at
I'm I'm not on the Sweeney train yet that you're on,
yeah, you will be.
but
Toot
didn't hate her
toot.
in this. The toot
Sweet.
toot. That's the first time I didn't hate her. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Look,
Someone called her Sydney Screamy on Letterboxd, and I
okay,
love it.
okay, yeah.
She
I
screams a lot
mean,
in this.
she does.
Not as much as Millie Bobby Brown in Damsel, but she screams a lot in this, which is
I th
fair. And we'll get to it, but
I think the screaming is kind of justified in this though.
yes,
Like
yes,
this is I I'm gonna come out and say it. Like I originally thought this was just going to be your standard religious horror film that we've seen
yep.
over and over again, like Exorcist. What was Pope? What was Russell Crowe's
Pope's
Pope's
Exorcist, yeah.
Exorcist? Like that
The
sort of
Nun we
genre.
watched.
The Nun. I thought, okay, this is what we're in for,
Yep,
and
same.
I've
And it
heard
was the
good.
first two acts.
Yeah, the first two acts, your standard.
Yep.
Cecilia comes across from America into what is wrong with Cecilia?
You
Cecilia.
didn't say Cecilia that time. You said Sincelia, like she's sincere.
She was
You
sincere.
keep going back and forth. She was sincere.
She's coming across to Italy,
Yep.
and she
Shot
is
in Rome.
yep. Also, they got all Italian actors, which was quite nice. And
Yeah. Well, it's shot in Rome, so it makes sense. But yeah,
yeah,
they
but
did,
like
which I liked.
sometimes they're like, oh, we're in this countryside, we're gonna just do everything in English.
Bring a bunch of Americans across. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
yeah. So that was nice.
I agree.
It felt sincere, like
It felt
sincerely.
genuinely sincere. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So she comes
Not sure that's the
across.
right word, but let's run with it.
She comes across and she is kind of handpicked because her covenant or whatever. I don't know what they're called. What's it called? The group church.
You said it
What is
before.
this? What covenant?
Convent.
Convent. Her convent
You roll at
is
an illustrious convent.
yeah.
A
So
covenant is a witch's,
uh so whatever. Her church is shut down where she is employed and devoted.
supposedly. Yeah.
Yep. And then she is contacted by Father Sal Ted. I always called him Sal Ted because
Ted is
Sal
she. But yeah.
Tadesh. So he contacts her and is like, "Yo, come over. We
Yeah.
want you to come work for us because their monastery is where the older nuns come to be able to then go meet God. So it's like a kind of, I guess, a retirement village for the older
It
population
is.
of
Yeah.
nuns
Yeah.
because that's how they describe it. She comes
Yeah.
across, and as we get in the first two acts, it's like just her experiencing that things aren't what they seem. So things start to unravel that, oh, maybe this is not what I signed on for. I'm the innocent, devoted faith, and things are getting a bit creepy. Like she has
Yep.
uh, the jump scares in this got me. They got me good. Like they were delayed jump scares. I was like, when she's doing her, what's it called, confession, I was like, well, this is the moment. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
maybe,
it's just pulled back. Yeah.
yeah. I was like, this is a fake out. And then it got me. And I was like, ooh, that actually made me jump.
Right.
Pretty good.
No, a lot of it, especially in the first two acts, a lot of it was just lazy, non-diegetic jump scares with like, oh, sound effect. That
Okay.
one was cool though. That one where they like she was in confession, they pulled her back and she was
Yeah.
being drowned or whatever it was. She was in bed. Oh, I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it was the face one, wasn't it? Where they're like pulling her face and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, the first two acts are just some jump scares, her discovering that each of the nuns aren't really what they presume to be. We get
Yep.
these nuns that are wearing these red masks, and you're like, what are these? What are these
Uh-huh.
guys? We discover there's some nuns with some burnt feet or like cool scarred feet. You're like, oh
Like branded,
yeah,
branded with the cross. Yeah.
yep. And then from here, if you haven't
She
seen
gets
it,
preggers.
okay, I was going to say it's probably worth watching it without knowing where this goes, but sure. Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, see it because it does take a different spin, which is really nice. That it,
She gets preggers in Act One.
yeah,
Like the end of Act One is her falling pregnant. So I don't mind revealing that. We won't do Act Three yet because I think Act Three. Say it now. Act Three is fucking good.
hmm,
Like this goes from generic, boring, almost like stock standard horror film where I don't care if anything's happening because there's no stakes in anything, to like a really well made thriller. Like not
yeah,
horror, I don't think. But the end is like Act Three is almost like a different team made it.
and it's
Sick.
like,
It's actually really good.
and it ramps up real quick.
Yeah,
Like it was, I like the switch too. I was like, okay, we're just in
totally.
for your standard generic religious horror, and then I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And
Yeah,
I look, I might be biased, but I was like, go Sydney. I was like, get there. When
yeah.
or
Like I
when
said,
it
that's the first time I cared about her.
yeah.
It's Act Three in this. Act One and Two, I was like, oh, Sydney Sweeney, I don't. You're not here because you're a good actor. You're here because you're attractive, and
And
we
then
get all these shots of you in a bath, and people want that shit.
and then
But then Act Three, she's great, and
yeah.
I swear, a different director made Act Three, different writers, different screenwriters, different fucking producing team. Act Three feels like a different movie from the rest of the movie,
Yeah.
and
And
it's
she produced
good.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're on the train. Toot toot.
I'm at the station. The train's approaching. I'm at the station, looking at it like I'm going to get on or not.
You're like, oh,
I'm not
that's a
hating
good
her as
look.
much as I used to.
That's a good looking
It's a good
train.
looking train. Look, it's not my type. That's not why I'm liking her more. I think that this is the first time that she played a role where she wasn't just there for attractive. Like she gave this. I wouldn't say she gave it her all. A lot of her acting in this felt like she was still holding back. I think she's still in this realm of not committing herself to like not letting her guard completely down. Like, in acting, good actors need to completely lose who they are as a person before they can become somebody else. I don't think that she has done that yet. She's pretty young.
It's
Give
pretty
it
new
give her time.
to the scene.
Yeah, for sure. But this is the first time I was like, okay, you're getting there. You're getting there,
Yeah.
Sydney Screamy.
Look, to her credit, like she could have just been doing rom-coms and just pumping them
Definitely.
out.
Oh, and
Like,
she'd make a bank.
to her credit, she's branching out, playing different roles,
Yep.
and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
All right.
Credit where it's due.
So if you
So
have
yeah,
not,
haven't seen it.
go see it.
Yes.
Yep.
Zach 3 is great. It's almost worth just skipping or watch the first two acts in like times two speed. There's enough information. Don't have to worry about it. We've given
Yep.
you enough information right now about what happens and what's going on. Skip to Act 3. Watch Act
Yep.
3. Act 3 is really cool.
Yep. So here we go. Spoilers. Three, two, one.
Spoilers 3.
And then as we get into it, we find out that she is pregnant and she gets interrogated, and they're like, have you ever had sexual intercourse, etc.? Like, what's going on? Why are you pregnant? And as it unfolds, it is not where I was expecting this to go at all. I was like, oh, the demon's got a the demon's like trying to impregnate her. But no, turns out that
Yeah.
these guys are just a little bit sadistic, quite sadistic,
Yep.
and they're like doing genetic modification and all sorts of things that
Because
are
Father Sal impregnated her, right? That how it
uh
worked? I'm a little lost to how like where the impregnation came from.
well, that's the mystery of it, because they were doing genetic modification and stuff, and then in one of those people with the red masks are like the
Mhm.
devotees to Father Sal and do his bidding. So like in one of those visions where she's pulled back, or it's kind of like deemed whether it did happen or didn't happen, and that's when they like get her pregnant, whether it was
Yeah.
through like those traditional means, but it is then implied that this is like genetically modified. So that's why they're in the lab. Because you know when
Yeah,
she
yeah, yeah.
runs through the lab, yeah, they've been doing like genetic modification and stuff, and that's why when she questions Father Sow is like, "You're not doing God's work," and then they're like, "Well, God hasn't stopped us," or like,
Yeah,
"Why
right.
hasn't God stopped us?" So like,
Which
there's
I'm actually interested to like it's almost like an anti-religious film, which is very interesting considering where it was filmed and who was involved. Like,
I again, I sort of saw it as there was like a pro-religious thing because like she as a kid was on the ice for some reason and then got trapped on the ice and then was like, what was her purpose? And her purpose was to stop this covenant of well, this
mm.
group.
But it's also talking about how people who are led, people who are led with blind faith can do anything if they're not stopped. Like, if there's no divine intervention, if God isn't interrupting and stopping us from doing bad things, then we're doing good things. And that's
Yeah.
like that negative side of religion as well. So it
Yeah.
was, yeah, it's interesting I played both sides because when I first started watching this, I felt like it was a very intentionally religious message. I was like, this is like I'm so anti-religion that I think this is annoying.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Act Three. Let's get to Act Three. She gets pregnant. She tries to get out by killing a chicken and pretending that she's had pregnancy worries. So they rush her to a hospital when they find the chicken underneath her bed and they bring her back. Then Act Three is her escaping, and it's really fucking sick. She is like, what happened? What's the first one? She beats the shit out of with like a
The
cross, beats the shit out of the
the
Mother
nurse,
Superior,
yeah,
and then she
strangles
runs away.
the other one.
Oh, the priest guy. Yep,
Yeah.
Cardinal.
Yeah. And then she runs, and then it's where she runs into the lab, and then
Yep,
Father Sal's like,
wants to like burn it down.
yeah, come back. And then she's trying to burn it. And
Yep.
then you do run into a couple of like standard tropes of like them being a little bit supernatural, like strength and recovery, grabbing
Yeah,
and holding. But yeah, like that's fine. They
adrenaline.
built
I'm okay
the
with that.
built the suspense, and then she lights it on fire and ends up getting away from Father Sal, burning everything
Mm.
down,
It gets really
escapes.
gritty.
It gets real dark, real.
Yeah, like her when she gets messy and dirty and like Sal is reaching through like a window sort of thing with like bars and he's like grabbing her head, like bashing her head against like some of it wasn't just there's a bit this early moment where there was like a character's leg was broken in like the cold opening and I was like,
Mhm.
that's just there for shock value. Towards the end, it just got gritty and like it felt legit, like they were
Mm.
fighting for their lives, which was. But yeah, he got burnt to shit and he was still like
Yeah.
Terminator after her.
Yep.
She
And
goes into
then
the catacombs.
yeah, crawls out, and
Hmm.
then the end scene, I reckon, is going to be spoken about for quite a
Yeah.
while. So
Uh-huh.
she gives birth, and this is probably where they give her the nickname of Sydney Screamy, because
Yep.
obviously, if you've been in the delivery room, yeah,
Of
it's
course.
there's a lot of screaming that happens,
Uh-huh.
and then she gives birth to the child. The child doesn't actually give any like screams or anything, so it's not like your normal sort of natural your birth because it is genetically modified. It's like all those tropes and stuff that are coming in. You see her bite
Yep.
the umbilical cord, like grit through it. She's like
Yep.
lost some teeth, lost some fingernails and stuff. Like her body's decaying as well. And
Hmm.
then we are sort of shown her lifting a very very heavy rock, and
Yep.
then cut away. Like does she end up killing the baby? Doesn't she?
100% she squashed the baby. Yeah,
Yeah, but
definitely.
we're not showed that.
Yeah, no, we're not. It's a one shot from her screaming, giving birth, to her walking over, grabbing a rock, and walking back to the child is all like this. It's all a close up on Sydney Sweeney's the face the whole time. That's what I'm saying. That's the first time I'm like, okay, this is decent. She held that really well to go through the different emotions of that scene. Screaming, grabbing a rock, crushing a baby, like in the end, it was really cool.
Mm,
I did not expect the end to be as gritty and like I said all the time, horror movies are going to action. It's dumb. This didn't feel like action. It felt more like desperate than action film. It wasn't just them fighting. There was elements, I guess, but it was more like survival horror, where
Yeah.
she was, having to escape and hide and, walk down corridors, make too much fucking noise. She was so loud considering how much she was trying to, not get caught by him.
Oh, I mean, like
Uh,
in that situation, she's not like a trained
them contractions and
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
spy or whatever. Like you just leg it. Like your adrenaline's
yeah,
cranking. Like you want to get out
for
of there.
sure.
So
But
I,
yeah, it ended really well, which disappoints me because the rest was so boring.
yeah,
And it was just a generic, like, yeah, the first two acts couldn't go fast enough. But then Act Three was like, yeah, very
all
well
right.
made. Like I
Okay.
said, different team.
I had a great time with it. I was pretty hooked. I was like I felt for her. I was like, survive. Get in there. And I liked it. I liked it.
I didn't
It-
dislike it.
Look, it was better than
The
Pope's
final act saved it.
Exorcist
Yeah.
and The Exorcist, and I'm gonna say it's one of the better religious horror ones I've seen. Besides
I
that,
prefer Tin and Tina over this.
nah, no, I didn't like Tin and Tina.
I know you didn't, but I like
Yeah,
Tin and Tina way more than this.
okay.
The first two acts of this are like a one. The first two acts of this I found less entertaining than Imaginary,
Oh, okay.
but the end was really fucking cool
Yeah,
and it
right.
ended well. And like you said, it's gonna be a talking point. I think people who watch it will be like, "Oh, dude, what do you think of the end?
Yeah.
She crushed a baby." Like
Mm,
that's you know, it's good that they are willing to push themselves that far, and do something controversial like that.
yep.
Where
I
you
think
at? What number?
I think Sydney Sweeney did a great job. I think her showing a range of different acting abilities, and I quite enjoyed it. I will definitely be recommending this to quite a few people, and I liked it. Four. I had a good time. I
Four.
had a really good time. Yeah.
Wow, that's a very
Yeah.
good time.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, right. Four.
yeah. I enjoyed it a lot.
Shit. Okay. The whole
Mm,
way?
the whole way. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, it's 2.5 for me.
Oh, you wouldn't even a
I'm
three.
not recommending
God,
it to people. No,
really?
because the first two acts are boring as hell and they serve no
Ah,
purpose.
nah, it's setting up that things are not what they seem. Bum,
Yeah, but you can
bum.
do that in 10 minutes.
Well, they didn't.
Like that they didn't know. They drew out this story that I didn't care about with these lazy, non-diegetic jump scares. And it felt like a generic. You said it yourself. The whole first two acts felt like a generic horror movie.
Yeah, and they did it well.
Yeah, nah,
You
two and a
don't.
half.
Wow. All right. All right.
Can't recommend it.
No, okay. Okay.
The end's good. I recommend the end. The
Yeah.
end is like a four.
All
The
right.
third act's sick, but I can't sit through an hour and a bit of a movie, be bored, and then get half an hour of good stuff and be like, oh, yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Personally,
Okay. Sure. Sure. Well then, next week we have the new Fallout series, which is on Amazon Prime. It comes out on the 11th.
yes. Oh my god,
Yep, I played number three. Lawson's a massive fan, so we'll see.
huge.
We have Parasite, which is out now on Netflix. I don't think it's the original adaptation. I think it's a further continuation of the universe. And then we have
Mhm.
Unlock, a jail experiment, a social experiment on Netflix about a jail. So we will see how that goes. And if you're
Yeah,
listening
all TV
on,
shows.
yeah,
Sorry.
if you're listening on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. If you're listening on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and make sure you tell your
Tell your
friends.
friends. Love
Bye.
yous.